The message arrived without warning. It appeared on the main communications screen inside the United Earth Command headquarters in New Geneva. The seal of the Galactic Council shone in gold over a deep blue background. The Council had never contacted Earth directly before. Their envoys always used trade delegates or lower diplomats. This time, it was different. The message was marked high priority, immediate response required. Captain Daniel was called into the command chamber. He was tall, with sharp eyes that had seen both peace and battle. His uniform was spotless, but his mind was already restless. A group of senior officials stood around a circular table, their faces lit by the glow of the transmission. The figure on the screen was alien. Its skin was pale silver, its eyes narrow and without pupils. Its voice was calm yet cold. "People of Earth," the envoy began, "the Galactic Council has reviewed your recent technological developments. Your actions have disrupted the balance of the galaxy. You are hereby summoned to the Grand Assembly at Arcadium Prime. You will explain yourselves. You will answer for your violations." There was a pause. Nobody in the chamber spoke. The envoy's gaze moved from one face to another. "You will arrive in 7 standard cycles," the envoy continued. "Failure to attend will result in corrective measures." The transmission ended abruptly. The seal of the council vanished from the screen, leaving a quiet, tense air in the room. Daniel finally spoke. "They are not asking. They are ordering." "Yes," the chairwoman of the United Earth Command, Maria Holt, nodded slowly. "It is a summons, yes, but it feels more like a warning." The council was the most powerful political body in known space. It was made up of 30 major civilizations, some with fleets that had ruled their regions for centuries. Earth had only joined the wider galactic community 50 years ago. After inventing faster-than-light travel, in that short time, humanity had expanded into 7 star systems, established trade, and built a defense force that could match most mid-level powers. But Earth had also done something the Council did not expect. Instead of relying on alien technology, humans had advanced their own science. In the last decade, they had developed adaptive shields, stealth drives, and rail cannons more powerful than anything the Council openly admitted to owning. The Council saw this as ambition that might turn into threat. Maria turned to Daniel. "You will go to Arcadium Prime. You will speak for Earth. You will make it clear that we are not aggressors, but we will not be ordered to dismantle our defenses." Daniel agreed. "If they are trying to intimidate us, they will fail." 2 days later, Daniel's ship, the Resolute, left Earth orbit. The vessel was sleek and heavily armed, with a hull made of reinforced titanium alloys mixed with a new human-design composite that resisted both energy and kinetic strikes. Alongside him were a small crew and 2 diplomatic envoys, including Maria herself. The journey to Arcadium Prime took 5 days. The route passed through the central trading lanes, where hundreds of alien ships traveled between colonies and space stations. Many slowed to watch the Resolute pass, its human flag painted boldly on its side. There was curiosity in the air, but also suspicion. Arcadium Prime was unlike anything Daniel had ever seen. The planet's surface glowed with vast crystal structures that reached into the clouds. Dozens of orbital stations formed a ring above the world, each shaped like a starburst, each bristling with defense platforms. The Galactic Council Hall itself floated in high orbit, a city-sized station with towers that seemed to defy gravity. When the Resolute docked, Daniel and Maria were greeted by council guards. They were tall, insect-like beings with segmented armor. Their movements were precise and controlled, and their eyes followed every motion of the human delegation. Inside the council hall, the main chamber was shaped like a vast circle. Hundreds of representatives sat in tiered rows, each from a different world. Some had fur, some scales, others skin like polished stone. They all turned to watch the humans enter. At the center of the hall stood the High Speaker, Tarvik of the Arenas race. His skin shimmered like metal, and his voice carried a strange echo. "Captain Daniel of Earth." "Maria Holt of United Earth Command," Tarvik said. "You are here to answer for your world's actions." Maria stepped forward. "We have violated no treaty. We have harmed no world." Tarvik's eyes narrowed. You have created weapons and defense systems that exceed the Council's approved development levels. Such advancements threaten the stability of our peace. The galaxy remembers the wars of expansion. We will not allow history to repeat itself. Daniel's voice was steady. Earth seeks only to protect its people. We did not ask for permission to survive. We will not dismantle our defenses because others feel uneasy about them. A low murmur spread through the chamber. Some delegates whispered to one another. Others tapped on their data devices, recording every word. Tarvik raised a hand for silence. Your words are bold, Captain. But boldness will not save you if the Council decides otherwise. You will have 7 cycles to reconsider. If you do not agree to the Council's terms, measures will be taken to ensure compliance. Daniel met Tarvik's gaze. We will consider your request, but we will also prepare for your measures. When the session ended, Daniel and Maria returned to their quarters aboard the Resolute. Outside the viewport, the glittering towers of Arcadium Prime reflected the light of its sun. But to Daniel, the beauty of the planet only hid the truth. This was a place of power, and power was always used to control. Maria broke the silence. They are afraid of us, Daniel. That is why they act this way. Daniel nodded. Yes, and fear can make them dangerous. As the Resolute prepared to depart, a smaller private transmission came through. It was from a human trade envoy already stationed at Arcadium Prime. His voice was low and urgent. Captain, there's more to this than they admit. Some of the Council worlds are already talking about a joint blockade of Earth. They are moving faster than you think. You need to get home and prepare. Daniel understood then that the Council's words were not empty. The summons was not a warning, it was the first step in a plan to limit humanity's reach. And if the Council thought Earth would submit without resistance, they were about to learn otherwise. The Resolute left the glittering orbit of Arcadium Prime and entered the deep stretch of trade lanes that led back to human space. Captain Daniel stood on the bridge, watching the swirling patterns of faster-than-light travel on the view screen. His mind was still heavy with the words of High Speaker Tarvik. 7 cycles to reconsider was a threat wrapped in polite language. Maria stood beside him, reading through the Council's official transcript. Her tone was sharp. They made sure to record every word we said. If they want to twist our response, they will. Daniel did not reply immediately. He had been in enough negotiations to know that enemies often worked in silence before they struck. Words were only the surface of a deeper game. Finally, he said, we need to assume they will act before those 7 cycles are over. Halfway through the journey, a priority transmission came in from the human diplomatic outpost on Varelia Station, a neutral zone close to the Council's border. The voice on the line belonged to Ambassador Raoul, a man Daniel had met during previous trade negotiations. Raoul's voice was tense. Captain, this is urgent. Multiple Council member fleets have begun to reposition near the rim sectors. Officially, they claim it is for training exercises, but our observers believe they are preparing for a blockade. Maria asked, blockade of where? Every major human trade route, Raoul said. They intend to choke off supplies, starve our colonies of resources, and pressure Earth into compliance without firing a shot. They want to make an example of us. Daniel exchanged a look with Maria. He knew the Council liked to avoid open war when possible, but economic warfare could be just as damaging. A blockade would hurt millions of people across human space. It would also send a message to the galaxy that Earth could be forced into obedience. The Resolute reached Earth after 3 more days of travel. New Geneva's towering skyline shimmered under the afternoon sun as the ship descended into the capital's main docking bay. Waiting for Daniel and Maria was the full leadership of the United Earth Command, along with senior officials from the Colonial Council. The meeting began at once inside the secure chamber. Maria gave her full report of the council session. Daniel followed with the details of Raoul's warning. The room grew tense as leaders realized the speed and coordination of the council's actions. The chairwoman, Maria Holt, spoke first. If they cut off our supply routes, they will weaken our colonies, strain our economy, and create unrest among our people. They think we will give in quickly. Daniel leaned forward. then we must show them that we will not. We have the technology to bypass their patrols, and we can hit their supply chains if necessary. But we need to be careful. We do not want to start a war without the people's support. An older admiral named Harris spoke from across the table. Captain, you have experience in covert fleet operations. What would you do if they start the blockade? I would send small, fast strike groups to disable their patrol stations in key sectors. Daniel replied, no casualties, no destruction of civilian property, just enough to show them we can break their hold whenever we choose. And I would make sure the whole galaxy sees it. Some leaders nodded in agreement. Others looked concerned. If we take that route, Harris said, we will need proof of their aggression first. Maria Holt looked at Daniel. Then we start gathering it, every movement of their fleets, every intercepted order, every captured transmission. We will expose their actions before we respond. Over the next week, human intelligence teams spread across the border sectors. They used stealth drones, disguised merchant ships, and friendly contacts in alien ports to collect data. The picture that emerged confirmed Rawls' warning. Council fleets were placing armed stations along major hyperspace corridors. Patrols stopped human cargo ships and inspected them under false claims of security checks. Some freighters were held for days, their goods seized for review. On the bridge of the Resolute, Daniel reviewed the latest reports with his first officer, Lewis. The young officer frowned as he read. They are not just preparing for a blockade. They have already started it, piece by piece. They think if they move slowly, we will not resist until it is too late. Daniel's voice was calm but firm. Then we will have to move faster. That night, Daniel met privately with Maria Holt and Admiral Harris in a secure room at the command center. The three spoke quietly over a digital star map. Daniel pointed to 3 locations Council supply depots just outside their territory. These are their weak points. Without these, they cannot keep their blockade supplied for long. We can disable them in coordinated strikes. We will not destroy the stations, just render them inoperable for months. Maria Holt tapped her finger on the map. And we make sure the galaxy knows why we did it. Yes, Daniel said. We leak the blockade orders to every neutral news network. Let them see the Council breaking their own laws. Admiral Harris grinned faintly. It will embarrass them, and nothing angers the Council more than losing their image of control. The plan was set in motion. 3 strike groups of human warships began preparations. The crews trained for silent approach maneuvers, disabling enemy defenses without lethal force, and escaping before reinforcements could arrive. Daniel would personally lead the first strike group. Aboard the Resolute, meanwhile, Maria coordinated with human diplomats to send private warnings to sympathetic alien nations. These messages included fragments of intercepted Council communications proving the blockade plan. Some worlds replied cautiously, others offered quiet support. No one was ready to openly defy the Council yet, but the seeds of doubt had been planted 2 days before the strikes were set to begin. Another transmission came in from Ambassador Raoul. His voice was urgent. They know you are planning something, Captain. Tarvik himself has ordered an increase in patrol strength near the outer sectors. You will need to move sooner, or they will be ready for you. Daniel wasted no time. He called his crew to battle readiness. The Resolute and its sister ships jumped into hyperspace under stealth drive, heading toward their targets. The mission ahead was dangerous, but Daniel knew it had to be done. The Council believed Earth would bend quietly under pressure. In a matter of hours, they would learn that humanity had no intention of bending at all. The Resolute emerged from hyperspace in the shadow of a barren moon. Its engines ran in low-power mode to avoid detection. Captain Daniel stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Ahead, beyond the moon's surface, was the first targeted Council supply hub orbiting a small gas giant in neutral space. The hub was a large ring-shaped station with docking arms for freighters and fuel tankers. Dozens of cargo containers floated nearby, connected by thin magnetic lines. 3 patrol ships orbited the station, each bristling with weapons. The station looked quiet, but Daniel knew it was a key link in the Council's blockade plan. Status of our stealth field. Daniel asked. His first officer, Lewis, checked his console. Stable, Captain. We are invisible to their scans unless we get within 3,000 meters. Good, Helm. Bring us in slow. No sudden changes. The plan was simple but risky. The Resolute would approach under stealth, deploy small drones to cut the stations, power systems, and leave before the patrol ships could respond. The operation required perfect timing. As the ship crept closer, the crew worked in silence. The only sounds were the hum of machinery and the quiet beeps from the consoles. Daniel watched the distance counter tick down. Drones ready for launch. Lewis reported. Daniel gave a short nod. Launch. 6 small drones shot out from hidden ports along the Resolute's hull. They moved like shadows, gliding through space without any bright engine trails. Each drone carried a compact electromagnetic disruptor. On the station, life went on as normal. Cargo crews moved supplies between docks, unaware of the approaching threat. Then, one by one, the drones latched onto key points along the stations. Outer ring, signal from drones confirmed, Lewis said. Activate disruptors, Daniel ordered. A ripple of invisible energy swept through the station. Lights went out in sections. Docking arms froze in place. Communication channels went silent. Within seconds, the station's power grid was offline. The patrol ships reacted quickly, moving toward the station to investigate, but without the station's command hub. Their coordination was poor. They circled in confusion, scanning wildly. Daniel spoke calmly. Helm, pull us back to the far side of the moon. All drones, return to bay. The drones detached and glided back, docking quietly with the Resolute. Once they were secured, the ship's engines came alive. Within moments, the Resolute vanished into hyperspace, leaving the disabled station behind. It was a clean operation, no casualties, no destruction, but a clear message to the Council. 2 hours later, Daniel received reports from the other 2 strike groups. Both had succeeded in disabling their targets. One team had taken out a fuel depot, the other a communications relay. All 3 operations had been completed without detection of the human ship's true positions. Maria. Hold received. The updates at United Earth Command. She wasted no time in sending a packet of evidence to neutral news networks across the galaxy. The data included intercepted orders proving that the targeted stations were part of an illegal blockade plan. Within hours, the story began spreading on trade channels and independent media streams. On the Council worlds, the reaction was immediate. Some delegates demanded stronger action against Earth. Others questioned why the Council was risking conflict over a blockade that now stood exposed. To the Galaxy. High Speaker Tarvik called a closed session with the most influential Council members. Inside the private chamber, his voice was tight with frustration. The humans strike without killing, but their actions humiliate us. If we do nothing, our authority will crumble. If we attack openly, we risk a war we cannot predict. A delegate from the Varna sector spoke sharply. Then we strike where it will hurt them most. We move ships into the Sol system itself. We let them see our power in their own home. Tarvik considered this. He knew an open move toward Earth would be dangerous, but his pride and the pressure from certain allied worlds was pushing him toward escalation. Back on Earth, Daniel arrived in New Geneva to a quiet reception. His operation had succeeded, but he knew the real challenge was still ahead. Maria met him in the command chamber. They will not take this lightly, she said. We embarrassed them. The blockade is damaged, but they will try something bigger now. Daniel agreed. We must prepare for direct confrontation. If they send ships to Sol, we cannot let them reach Earth in the following days. United Earth Command began reinforcing the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Mines were hidden among the rocks, and gun platforms were placed in positions where they could fire on any fleet trying to cross. Human carriers patrolled the outer edge of the belt, ready to respond to any incoming threat. Meanwhile, Daniel received another message from Ambassador Raoul. Captain, my sources confirm that multiple Council warships are leaving Arcadium Prime. Their destination is officially listed as patrol duty, but their heading is toward Sol. You may have only days before they arrive. The warning was serious, but Daniel felt ready. The Resolute was resupplied, and its crew stood at full readiness. They have faced the Council once in silence. Next time, they might face them openly. As Daniel stood on the bridge, looking out at the dark stretch of space beyond Earth, he knew the Council had underestimated humanity. The strikes had been a warning, a test of human reach and precision. The next encounter would test something even more important: the will of Earth to stand its ground. When the enemy came to its doorstep, the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter was quiet. Huge rocks floated through the dark, spinning slowly. As sunlight caught their rough edges, to most, the belt was just a dangerous stretch of space filled with debris. To Captain Daniel, it was the perfect battleground. The Resolute hovered behind a large asteroid, its engines at idle power. Around it, other human warships lay hidden among the rocks. Stealth drones were positioned in clusters, ready to relay targeting data the moment enemy ships crossed the belt's outer edge. From the bridge, Daniel studied the incoming data stream. 3 Council warships had entered the Sol system. They were large, heavily armed, and supported by 2 smaller escort craft. Their approach was slow, deliberate, as if they wanted Earth to see them coming. Maria Holt's voice came through on the secure channel from Earth Command. Daniel, their course is confirmed. They will cross into the belt in less than 30 minutes. Remember, we cannot fire first without proof of hostile intent. Daniel replied calmly, understood. We will give them the chance to turn back. The minutes passed slowly. The crew of the Resolute worked in silence, their faces tense. Even though they had trained for this moment, the presence of the Council fleet so close to Earth brought a heavy weight to the air. Finally, the enemy fleet appeared on the main display. Their hulls gleamed under the light of the sun, smooth and silver, marked with the insignia of the Galactic Council. Open a channel, Daniel ordered. A moment later, the image of the Council fleet commander appeared on screen. The alien's eyes were narrow and unblinking, its voice calm but cold. Human vessel. This is Council Commander Reelan. We are here to ensure compliance with Council directives. Your fleet is ordered to stand down and allow inspection of all Sol system facilities. Daniel stood straight, his voice firm. Commander, your presence in our home system without permission is an act of aggression. Turn back now and there will be no conflict. Reelan's expression did not change. Your refusal will be taken as resistance to lawful authority. Prepare to be boarded. The channel closed. Daniel's voice was steady. Weapons to ready. Keep shields down until they fire first. The Council fleet moved forward, entering the belt. The smaller escort craft split off to scout, weaving between the rocks. Daniel waited, watching the tactical map. Then one of the escorts turned its weapons toward a hidden human defense platform and opened fire. They fired, Lewis reported. Daniel did not hesitate. All ships, engage. The Resolute surged forward from its hiding place, its rail cannons firing bright streaks of energy. The first shots tore through the nearest escort craft, disabling its engines. Mines hidden in the belt detonated, sending shock waves through the Council formation. Human ships emerged from behind asteroids and coordinated strikes. Every shot was aimed to disable rather than destroy. Engines were targeted. Weapon systems fried with precision hits. The Council warships returned fire, their beams slicing through smaller rocks, but the belt's terrain made it difficult for them to track targets. Each time they locked onto a human ship, another would emerge from a different angle, forcing them to split their attention. On the Resolute's bridge, Daniel gave rapid orders. Group 2, cut off their lead ship. Group 3, focus fire on their central targeting array. Within minutes, the Council's advantage in firepower was reduced. One of their main warships lost its shields entirely, drifting as its engines shut down. Another was pinned between 2 human frigates, both firing at its weapon mounts until it went silent. Reelan's voice returned over the channel, his tone sharper now. Captain Daniel, you are forcing a confrontation you cannot win. Daniel replied without hesitation. We are not here to win your approval. We are here to defend our people. Your fleet will withdraw. Reelan did not answer immediately. Daniel could see his hesitation. The council commander was realizing that his fleet was trapped in a position where continued fighting could mean total loss. Finally, Reeland spoke. "We will withdraw. But this matter is not finished." The remaining council ships powered down their weapons and began turning away from the belt. Human ships held position, ensuring they left the Sol system entirely. When the last council vessel disappeared into the black, the tension on the Resolute's bridge eased. Lewis let out a breath. "They will come back. You know that." Daniel nodded. "Yes, but next time, the whole galaxy will know they came here and were sent away." Back on Earth, Maria Holt made sure of that. The battle recordings, along with proof that the Council fleet had fired first, were sent to every major news outlet across human space into neutral worlds. The images of Council ships retreating from the asteroid belt spread quickly, drawing mixed reactions. Some praised Earth's bravery. Others warned that the Council would respond with even greater force. In the Council chambers at Arcadium Prime, High Speaker Tarvik listened to the reports with growing frustration. The blockade plan was already weakening under the weight of public opinion, and now the failed show of force in the Sol system had damaged the Council's image further. Still, Tarvik was not ready to back down. Daniel knew this too. Standing at the viewport of the Resolute, watching the asteroid belt drift slowly past, he understood the battle had only been a warning shot. The Council had tested Earth's resolve. The real test was still ahead. The Council fleet's retreat from the Sol system spread through the galaxy like fire. Through dry grass, images of human warships holding their ground in the asteroid belt appeared on trade networks, independent broadcasts, and underground channels. Many saw it as a bold stand. Others whispered that the Council was losing its grip. In the great chambers of Arcadium Prime, the Council met in closed session. High Speaker Tarvik stood before the assembly. His voice firm. "Earth has challenged the authority of this Council. If we do nothing, other worlds will follow their example. We must act with strength before our influence collapses." Some delegates agreed, pounding their tables in support. Others hesitated, wary of provoking a war they might not win. A thin, green-skinned delegate from the Myron sector spoke cautiously. "Our fleets have already failed twice. If we send more, it may only show the humans are stronger than we wish to admit." Tarvik's eyes narrowed. "Then we will not simply send more ships. We will strike where they do not expect, far from their home system. We will target their colonies, trade hubs, and allies. We will show them that defiance has a cost." Orders went out within hours. Council forces began massing near human trade routes that led to the colonies of Vega, Atlas, and Helios. Back on Earth, Captain Daniel received the first intelligence report from Ambassador Raoul. The message was urgent. "Daniel, their fleets are moving again, but not toward Sol. They are spreading out, hitting targets that supply your colonies. They want to weaken you without stepping into your home system again." Maria Holt gathered the United Earth Command in the war room. The digital map lit up with red markers, showing enemy fleet movements. "If we lose these colonies, our trade network collapses. Our people will face shortages within months." Daniel leaned over the table. "Then we do not wait for them to attack. We meet them where they are going, not where they arrive." The command approved his plan. 3 human fleets would split up. One would head toward Vega, another toward Atlas, and Daniel's Resolute would lead the defense of Helios, a small but vital mining colony. In the far reaches. The journey to Helios took 3 days. The Resolute traveled with 2 destroyers and a frigate, all armed with the latest human-designed weapons. Helios was a dusty, rocky world with thin air, but its mines produced rare minerals essential for building advanced ship components. When the human fleet arrived, they found Helios calm, but sensors quickly picked up incoming ships. A council strike force was approaching from the far side of the system to heavy cruisers and for escorts. Daniel opened a channel to the colony governor. "Governor, get all civilian ships into the shelters. This is going to be a fight." The governor's voice was steady. "Understood, Captain. We have seen the news from Sol. We trust you will hold." The human fleet took defensive positions near the largest moon of Helios. Its surface was covered in craters that could hide small craft. Daniel ordered drone fighters into these craters, ready to launch a surprise strike when the enemy drew close. When the Council fleet entered range, they moved with the confidence of superior numbers. Their lead cruiser sent out a message: "Human ships, stand down. This colony will be placed under Council protection. Resistance will be met with force." Daniel replied at once, "Helios is under Earth's protection. Turn back, or you will not leave the system intact." The enemy ignored his warning and advanced. Daniel waited until the range closed to optimal distance. Then he gave the command: "Drones, launch, all ships, open fire." The moon erupted with movement as the hidden drones shot into space, firing concentrated bursts at the Council escorts. The sudden attack tore through the enemy's formation. One escort lost its shields instantly, spinning out of control. Human destroyers moved in from the flanks, hammering the lead cruiser with rail cannon fire. The Council ships responded with heavy beams, striking one of the human destroyers and forcing it to pull back. But the damage was not enough to shift the tide. The Resolute pressed the attack, targeting the enemy's central command relay. Precision shot from its main cannon blasted the relay into fragments, disrupting coordination among the Council ships. The fight lasted nearly an hour. In the end, two Council escorts were disabled. One cruiser was heavily damaged, and the rest retreated. Helios was safe. Daniel's crew cheered quietly on the bridge. But Daniel did not smile. He knew this was only one battle in a larger campaign. The Council was testing them in multiple places, trying to stretch Earth's defenses then. Back on Earth, Maria Holt received word of similar victories at Vega and Atlas. The human fleets had held all three colonies, though at the cost of damage to several ships and loss of valuable munitions. Yet there was another consequence the Council had not expected. Inspired by Earth's defiance, several minor worlds under Council control began to question their allegiance. Some sent messages of support to Earth in secret. Others started resisting Council orders openly. Reports reached Daniel from Raoul. There's unrest in the rim sectors. The torn worlds have refused to send tribute ships. The Kinner mining colonies are on strike. Your actions are giving them courage. Daniel realized that Earth's fight was no longer just about survival. It was becoming a symbol for others who wanted freedom from the Council's rule. Tarvik, however, saw the same reports and grew more determined. He ordered a new plan, one that would push the Council into direct confrontation again. The next target would not be a colony, it would be Earth itself, this time with overwhelming force. But Daniel was ready. If they came again, he intended to make sure it would be the last time. The galaxy was changing. What began as a struggle between Earth and the Galactic Council had grown into something much larger. Small worlds, once silent and fearful, now whispered of rebellion and hope. Captain Daniel stood in the command center of the Resolute, watching reports from distant sectors. Ambassador Rawl's voice came through the comlink. "Captain, the torn worlds have closed their space gates to the Council fleets. The Kinner miners are refusing to send resources. Even some Council military officers are quietly supporting the uprisings." Daniel nodded slowly. "Good. That means the Council's control is breaking. We must support these rebellions without exposing them too soon." Maria Holt sat beside him, reviewing diplomatic messages. Some alien leaders are hesitant. They fear open war with the Council. We must give them reason to join us without forcing their hands. Daniel agreed. Technology is our greatest gift. We can share defensive systems and communication tools with the rebels. We cannot defeat the Council alone, but together we have a chance. Over the next weeks, secret shipments of human technology were sent to rebel groups across the rim sectors. Stealth drones, shield generators, and encrypted communication devices helped the rebels defend their worlds from Council attacks. At the same time, Daniel and Maria worked to build a coalition. They contacted leaders of neutral planets, sharing evidence of the Council's aggressive plans and the blockade's true nature. Some worlds agreed to offer safe harbor to rebel ships and refugees. Despite these successes, the Council was not idle. High Speaker Tarvik's forces continued to mass near the borders of human space, preparing for what he called the final correction. The Council believed overwhelming force could crush Earth's resistance before the rebellion spread. Further, Daniel knew the coming battle would be the greatest challenge yet. He gathered his senior officers aboard the Resolute. "We stand at a turning point," he began. "The Council thinks they can force us into submission. They do not understand the strength we have built not just in our ships, but in our people and our allies. We will give them a choice, peace and equality, or war and ruin." Maria added, "An ultimatum will be sent. We offer the Council a chance to end the blockade, recognize Earth's rights, and respect our sovereignty. If they refuse, we will fight with everything we have." The message was sent through every available channel: Council worlds, neutral sectors, and even rebellious systems. The galaxy waited for a reply for 3 cycles. Silence answered. The Council debated fiercely behind closed doors. Some urged Harvick to accept peace. Others called for total war. Then, one evening, a transmission came. It was Tarvik himself. His voice was colder than before. "The Council will not yield. Earth must bow or be broken." Daniel felt the weight of those words, but he did not falter. Instead, he prepared his fleet and allies for the coming storm. The coalition of rebel ships joined Earth's forces near the Vega system, ready to defend their shared freedom. Daniel's fleet included human destroyers, alien frigates with energy, weapons, and small squadrons of fighters from multiple species united by a common cause. The Council fleet approached in overwhelming numbers, confident in their power. But the Alliance had the advantage of surprise, coordination, and fierce determination. The battle that followed was fierce and long. Ships darted through space, exchanging fire. Shields flared and broke. Fighters clashed in fast dogfights, while massive warships exchanged heavy beams and missiles. Daniel commanded with steady calm, adapting to the changing flow of battle. His crews performed with skill and courage. The rebels, inspired by humanity's defiance, fought with unmatched spirit. In the middle of the battle, Daniel's flagship launched a concentrated attack on the Council flagship's command center. The strike succeeded in disabling the enemy's targeting systems, throwing their fleet into confusion. Seeing the tide turn, several Council ships broke formation and fled. Others surrendered to the coalition forces. When the battle ended, the Rebel Alliance held the field. The Council fleet had suffered severe losses. Daniel sent a message to Tarvik, firm and clear: "Your forces have been defeated. The galaxy will not live under fear and control any longer. It is time for peace." The victory changed everything. The Council's power weakened as more worlds declared their independence. Negotiations began for a new treaty that would recognize Earth's sovereignty and grant equal rights to all member worlds. Captain Daniel returned to Earth a hero, but he knew the fight was not over. The galaxy had changed, and humanity's role had grown beyond what anyone could have imagined. He stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching stars pass by, ready for whatever future awaited. The galaxy had changed forever. The long conflict between Earth and the Galactic Council was over, but its echoes shaped the future in ways no one had expected. Captain Daniel stood on the bridge of the Resolute, now a symbol of humanity's strength and resilience. Peace talks continued at Arcadium Prime, the same place where the Council had once demanded Earth's submission. This time, the mood was different. Delegates from dozens of worlds sat together, speaking openly and without fear. The old power structures were shifting. New voices rose to demand fairness, cooperation, and respect. Maria Holt was at Daniel's side. She smiled quietly. "We earn this peace through struggle. It is fragile, but it is ours." Daniel nodded. Humanity has proven that survival requires more than weapons. It needs courage, unity, and respect for others. The new treaty recognized Earth's right to govern its own affairs and to develop technology without Council interference. It also created a Galactic Alliance organization built on equality, where no single species or group could dominate. Earth was one of its founding members. With peace restored, humanity began to explore the galaxy with new purpose: trade. Routes opened wide, scientific teams shared discoveries, and cultural exchanges blossomed. Earth's technology helped improve life on many worlds, while new ideas from alien civilizations enriched human society. Yet Daniel knew that vigilance was still necessary. The galaxy was vast and complex, conflicts could arise again, and new challenges would test them. But now, humanity stood ready not alone, but as part of a larger community. One evening, Daniel walked the quiet corridors of the Resolute. He thought of all the battles, sacrifices, and moments of doubt that had led here. He felt a deep pride not just in victory, but in the spirit of humanity that refused to bow. As he gazed out at the stars, Daniel whispered, "This is only the beginning." The galaxy had seen what humans could do when pushed to the edge. They had faced the greatest powers and refused to be broken. Now, they would help shape a future where all species could thrive together. The story of Earth's retaliation was told for generations, a tale of courage, unity, and hope. The Galactic Council's provocation had ignited a fire that no one could extinguish. Humanity's dawn and the stars had arrived.